Thanks, Patrick. Well, yes, it's true. My name is Charlie Browne. Well, right now I am working here in Tokyo, Japan at Meiji Gakuin University as a professor of applied linguistics. And I've actually been in Japan working in education for about close to 30 years now. And my area of focus is second language vocabulary acquisition and also e-learning. And tonight I just want to have a few words with all of you about a few words of mine. And basically what I've done is I've created a word list, actually several word lists that I think are very foundational, important core words for second language learners. But before I get to talking about that list of words, I think it's probably better to just begin at the beginning and talk a little bit about the size and scope of the English language. I'm not sure if you ever thought about this or you ever looked it up, but there in the largest dictionary of English, which is the Oxford English Dictionary, there is more than 600,000 word families in the dictionary. And word families means all of the different kinds of a word. So accept, accepting, acceptable, accepts, that's all one word. So there's actually millions of words in the English language. It's an enormous, almost incomprehensible number. But fortunately for us, not all words are created equally. Fortunately for us, native speakers, on average, use far less than 600,000. If, for example, you were to measure the vocabulary size of a native speaker of English who grew up in an English-speaking country, somebody who's gone on, all the way through to college, by the time they've graduated college, they've mastered somewhere between 25 and 30,000 words of English. So in other words, only about 5% of the English language. Now, that's really good. 30,000 is a lot less than 600,000, but what about second language learners of English? I'm working here in Japan, and I'm always worried about the needs of my students. And the news is not quite as good here. If we look at, for example, Japanese students, after they've studied English for a total of 14 years, 2 years in elementary school, 3 years in junior high, 3 in senior high, and 4 in college, after 14 years of study, they only know about 2,000 words of English. That's far less than the 30,000 that native speakers know. And this is not a problem that is just only happening in Japan. I mean, almost, second language learners of English all around the world suffer from the same kind of numbers. After hundreds of hours of study and years of study, they are still not even close to the level of native speakers. And this is really one of the things that sort of worried me and puzzled me, and I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out. And what I wanted to try and figure out is if I could find some kind of a shortcut or shortcuts for second language learners. So if native speakers are here at about 30,000 and non-natives are down about 1,000 or 2,000, are there certain words that are more important than others, certain words that are more useful, that if the students knew a certain list of words less than 30,000, could they make do and get through most English books and magazines and things like that? And the answer is yes. But how do we figure out those words? Well, that's the science of corpus linguistics, and that's what I do. Basically what a corpus is a large collection of texts. And what you see on the left-hand side of your screen is a whole bunch of text being thrown into a computer. And the computer basically helps us to analyze those texts and to try and figure out which of the words are more frequent, which of the words are more important. And with a little bit of luck, a little bit of sweat, a little bit of hard work, we're able to identify a really nice, tight group of words that really can help students out. And this is exactly what I and my colleagues have done in creating what's called the New General Service List, or the NGSL. We used a corpus of about 273 million words that's made up of both spoken English and written English, that has American English and British English, and pulled it all together. And when we analyzed that corpus, we were able to come up with a list of just 2,800 words. And those 2,800 words give actually a very incredible 90 to 92% coverage for most books, magazines, newspapers, anything that students might read. And actually an even higher coverage if they try to watch TV or watch a Hollywood movie. So these are, really, really useful words. And 2,800 sounds like a lot, but that's less than 10% of what a native speaker knows and less than 1% of the entire English language. So once we publish this list, as a professor at an ivory tower school, the thing that we're supposed to do is publish papers. So one of the first things we did was started to write research papers. So if you go to a library at a university somewhere, you'll see some of my papers gathering dust in an ivory tower. But this is absolutely not why we did this project. We did the research to show that what we did was on the up and up, but really our main purpose was to identify a list of words that we thought would be useful for language learners, and then to just work as hard as we could to get tools out in the hands of students and teachers and text writers and researchers to actually be able to use those words. So this website that I've created called newgeneralservicelist.org sort of collects all of those resources. And if you go to the website, what you'll see is just this incredible collection that's growing every day of free resources to help you to take advantage of the list. Of course, there's downloadable versions of the various word lists we've made. There's definitions in easy English and Japanese so that learners can sort of learn the words without having to deal with very long definitions. There's a whole host of online learning applications, online assessment tools, online research tools, text analysis and grading tools, and there's a blog which sort of updates you on all of the new happenings with the NGSL. And what I'd like to do just for the last 2 or 3 minutes of my presentation is just show you a few screenshots of some of these resources. So for example, there's a few really nice free websites for flashcard learning of new words. And two of my favorite are Quizlet.com and Memrise.com. They're really nice, number one, because they're free. And as poor teachers, we love free. But the nice thing about Memrise and Quizlet is you can upload any word list you want, and then you can start learning them via not only flashcards, but all kinds of different, really interactive learning activities and games. And you'll find the NGSL on both of those websites. But most of my students, rather than using PCs to learn, they actually prefer using their smartphones. So one of the first things I did was started to create a series of free iPhone and Android applications to help students to learn those word lists. And so you can go into one of the stores and you can probably find NGSL Builder in either store now. But also, we needed to create tools to help researchers and people who are writing or analyzing text. And one of my favorite text analysis tools is called Vocab Profile. Now, why is this tool important? Well, let's imagine that your students know the 2,800 words of the NGSL, and you want to introduce to them a native speaker text, a native level text. How do you know if the text is at the right level for those students or not? Well, Vocab Profile is one of the tools that can help you to do that. So what I've got here, the way the tool works, you just copy and paste the text you want to analyze into the white box that you see in the center there. You click on the NGSL button and then hit Submit, and what you get is a really nice color-coded readout of the difficulty of the text. And what I've done here is I've copied and pasted into the text box the first chapter of Harry Potter. And what we can see on the next screen here is that Harry Potter, if you know the NGSL words, you'll have about 93% coverage. You'll know 93% of the words in Harry Potter if you know just the 2,800 words in the NGSL. So Vocab Profile is one really nice tool. I've helped to create another tool called OGTE, that's the one on the right, and also another one called AntWord Profiler also uses the NGSL, that's the one on the left. So there's definitely a growing range of analytical tools that you can use with the NGSL. Now, what about students? So we have these 2,800 words. Let's say, a teacher wants their students to learn those words. Well, where do they begin? They already know some English, so they're going to know some of those words. They don't want to study them all. Where's the best place to start? Well, if we want to know their starting point, we need a test. So, two researchers down in Miyazaki developed a really nice test called the NGSL. And this short test allows you to very quickly figure out where your strengths and weaknesses are in terms of knowledge of the NGSL. And the nice thing is as soon as it's identified your weakness in the NGSL, it sort of sends you over to Quizlet so that you can start learning those exact words via flashcards. In addition to the NGSL, which is that's the box in yellow at the bottom, NGSL is general English. Once you've mastered the NGSL, there are other shortcuts as well. If you're a student going on to a four-year school in a four-year university in an English-speaking country, there are certain academic words that occur very, very frequently in academic lectures and academic texts. And we've made a list, that's the top left green one, called the NAWL. That's a list of academic words that can help you to succeed in academic settings. The one in the center is our TOEIC list. That gives 99% coverage for if you are trying to master trying to pass the TOEIC exam. And then we're also working on a business English list as well. So if you want more information about the NGSL, you can go to our website. You can find out about it on Wikipedia. We also have a Facebook page. And all of these are places to go if you want to sort of look at the kind of resources that we've developed. I hope that through this presentation you've sort of come to understand that all words are not created equally, that there are certain words that are very important and can really help our students. And I and my colleagues who made this list, we're just very happy that we could make a small contribution to helping our students to maybe get proficient in English a little bit more quickly. So thank you very much for your time. Thanks, man.